lot of people raised eyebrows yesterday at Keenan Allen's stats with the Chargers. Then you look at what Calvin Austin III has done with Memphis. Even in the game against Cincinnati, when they kind of got smoked, he put up over 100 yards receiving. Is he kind of the biggest, threat or matchup headache for you when you look at the X's and O's of Memphis?
Yeah, he's definitely, a big headache for us, but they're so athletic all the way across the board. The quarterback White seemed like he's been there for 9 years. He's been there forever. I'm like, man, would this guy please graduate? He's a really, really good quarterback. And so when you got a guy like that can distribute the ball around, and they present a lot of issues, and obviously they can run the ball too. They've always been super athletic. They've unfortunately over the years they've taken some kickoffs back to the house against us. One year we tried to kick it away from another guy we kicked it to, he took it back. So like, okay, well, plan C now. You go from plan B to plan C. It's just, but that's them. It just, you try to take away another guy, then somebody else emerges like, who the heck is that guy? They're just so athletic, all the way across the board.
So there are only 2 losses of the season, or there were only 2 road games of the season. And the last time they were on the road was the game against Cincinnati, where they lost 49-10. Do you think a home field advantage might exist here, not only as Memphis has shown that they can't really play well on the roads thus far this year, although the loss to SMU was very close, but do you think also that it means a lot more to the Navy guys to be at home, to emerge from this very odd bye cycle, with a home game? Is that something that the players are really looking forward to?
I think so, John. Being able to, not having to get back on an airplane, I think that's good for us. All the familiarities of being in your home surroundings, the comfort of knowing where you're at and having some comfort level there, hopefully it will help. Because we're going to need everything against these guys. We're going to need every advantage we can get. And we're definitely counting on hopefully being at home will definitely be an advantage for us.
Thank you very much, Coach. I'm good.
Thanks, John.
Bill Bergman.
Hey, Coach. It's been now 4 weeks since Navy's played a game. This will be the first game in November. Having this time off, what's it been like?
Been strange, because really the thing's been interesting. We've been preparing for the game, then it'll get canceled, so then you got to change midstream. And so because of that, some of the early preparation in a week's been normal. You have an opponent and you start getting ready for them, and then the carpet gets pulled under, the rug gets pulled out, or whatever, so to speak. And, that's, you just try to adjust. I think it's been good. Our guys been able to get some rest. We've been banged up, but you also got to be careful of, not getting out of shape. Some of the things that have, occurred as far as quarantine and the guys that were out, you got to get them back into shape. You got to make sure that you're not too rusty. But that tends to happen when you don't play. We've been practicing, but, there's nothing like games. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint, hopefully the time off will give us time to heal for those who've been banged up and injured. And, hopefully we've done enough to stay in good enough football shape. Hopefully we've done enough so that we're not too rusty when we play, and then we can hit the ground running against Memphis, because you can't fall behind those guys. So hopefully we're ready to go from the get-go.
You've already gotten to prepare a little for Memphis a few weeks ago before that game was postponed. What type of, not advantage, but how is this different than just preparing for a normal game, getting some of this pre-scouting already done in advance?
Well, it definitely helped us because we got some work done on them. We got some, like you said, some of the pre-scout stuff involved, some of our game planning and stuff. We didn't finalize, all of it because it was still a work in progress. But to already have the foundation already built for that game definitely helps us as we press forward. Obviously then we look at their last week's game and look at anything else that you can pick up and kind of go from there. But having some work already done on them is, definitely helps us. We're ahead of the game where we normally would be on a Monday, getting ready for our opponents. So from that standpoint, it's been good.
And last question for me. You touched on your wife's going to be in Hawaii for Thanksgiving. Just normally, what is your favorite Thanksgiving tradition or Thanksgiving memory that you have?
Well, obviously eating, but just being around with family, watching games. I've been involved with football for so long that the 3 F's have always been there: football, family, food, and so there's football has always been part of Thanksgiving. Whether you're watching games on TV, whether you have a practice. I think the cool thing that's been here, Phil, the whole time is we've normally, not this year, but normally the brigade's gone. And so for Thanksgiving, it's just been the football team. And we go to King Hall and we have our family Thanksgiving dinner with the players. And the thing that I always tell them, hey, this isn't like being at home with your family. I understand that. But you're here with your football family, your football brothers, and so we normally have a Thanksgiving meal at King Hall, and it's normally a great meal. And we supplement, individual families for the families of the brotherhood. The coaches will come, players will be there. And so I think as a football coach here at the neighborhood, that's probably one of our favorite traditions, favorite memories of Thanksgiving is having Thanksgiving with the football team at King Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Graham Knight.
Hey, Coach. Graham Knight from Behind the Lines. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's get the important stuff out of the way. Hey, I want to kind of talk a little bit, dig into injuries first. You mentioned that this has given you a chance to, or maybe heal up the team. Talk to me a little bit about starters. A few weeks ago, Diego was pretty banged up. Is he back in action? And also, who are you thinking about starting at quarterback this week? Or have you announced that yet?
No, we haven't announced our quarterback starter yet, but we're pretty healthy right now, Graham. And most of the guys are back. We feel good about that this time off has definitely been time that our guys have been able to be rested up. I mean, it takes longer than a month to get fully healed from, injuries that you have, but we're encouraged. We're encouraged by where we're at this point. We're, for this late in the season, I think we're as healthy as we can be. Normally at this time in late November, you're not this healthy, but obviously we haven't played in a month too, so that contributes to that.
Yeah, got it. Hey, so, one of the things on this side of the game, always kind of trying to wrap our brain around is, what's it like playing this year? And I finally thought of a way to maybe put that in context. Take me back to last year. You'd be about 3 weeks out from the Army-Navy matchup. What was it like last year at this time?
Ooh, I don't remember.
Don't remember?
What I mean?
Right.
Just because really it's really, Graham, it's such a year-to-year deal. This time last year, we're getting ready for Army like you normally do. It's kind of like I told Phil, we had our Thanksgiving dinner. We practice, we kind of start practicing, getting ready. But can anybody remember 2019? There's been so much going on in 2020. Right. It's like, I'm sure I have to sit down and think about it. But at this, just right off the cuff, it just seemed like a normal time period getting ready for them.
Yeah, no, I get that it's week to week and it's just next opponent. One of the things that happens in football a fair bit, and John Feinstein did this a fair bit in his book, there's the analogies between football and war or football and combat and, Navy and Army and Air Force and the Coast Guard, et cetera. I'm just kind of curious, how much is football really that great at preparing soldiers for combat? It seems to me you're getting assignments, especially this year, that you don't want. You're down. How beneficial is football in preparing these guys for combat?
Well, we just had when we went to SMU, we had Clint Bruce come speak to our football team, and he had talked about, here's a guy that's, doing well now in the private sector with some of the stuff that he's doing, but obviously served as a SEAL, and I just use this example, but there's many of these examples. But he just talked about that the greatest things that he learned in battle were on the football field. Just of the stuff of the brotherhood and the unity and doing your job, toughness, being selfless, there's a lot of things that you learn at the Naval Academy, and, obviously you got to learn, go to class, and there's things that you learn that way. But he said what prepared him most for what he did was the football. And the same thing guys have gone to Marine Corps and other parts. It's not, and I heard other people say in other sports too, not just football, whether it's lacrosse or whatever sport they did, just the unity of working together, a common goal, fighting together to stay in shape and to run. Because obviously you're not, there's no live bullets or anything, but, running in the heat or going through some adversity together, you help each other out. When somebody's dragging, you lift that person up, and vice versa. And some of those types of lessons that you try to fabricate, so to speak, in training, some of the stuff that you do in Quantico and things I've heard about, the grueling things that they do. And, you lift each other up. When somebody's struggling through one of those courses, another guy helps them up. That's exactly what happens in sports.
Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
It's just what it is, Graham. It just, you look at somebody else and he's down, you lift that guy up. And I will say this, I remember one game, we're walking on the plane and, didn't win. And just, I'm the first guy on the airplane. And so I come on the plane, I'm kind of in the middle, and I see all these guys walking in, and everybody's got ice bags and bandages coming up, and they can barely walk. And, and our trainers going back in the plane, passing out Tylenol for those guys who have headaches. There's some reality like these guys literally just physically got beat up. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of look from a leadership standpoint as these guys walk in, you're trying to encourage guys to hang, just going through a battle, but literally like it's close to not, obviously you're not fighting per se, but there are guys that are, guys that, guys coming in crutches, guys coming, they're bandaged up, guys in, need medicine. I thought about that once, and holy smokes, it's kind of like we just came from a war. These guys can barely walk on the plane. And so it kind of, the reason I bring this up, Graham, is as pissed as I was that we lost, I was, just, mad that we lost. I started looking at these guys that, they gave everything.
Right.
That, hey, you just tip your hat, I'm in my mind thinking about the things we could have done better. I could have did this, or we could have did that, coaching and playing. But I'm like, holy smokes, look at these kids. They're walking on a plane. They can barely walk. Things are swollen. Things are, bruised up. Mm-hmm. And I'm just concerned because we missed a block or we blew a coverage. So it's kind of put perspective in for me that there are some real battle analogies that are legit.
Well, the one that really strikes me, and this will be my last part of this discussion here, at least for me today, is when the team's down. I've seen other teams come into games where they're down and they just lose momentum, they lose heart, and they're done. Navy doesn't do that. You guys keep going. You just, you found a way to come back against Tulane. The game a couple weeks ago, you were down. Just continue to do battle all the way through. What's that feel like as a coach? I know that you get pissed that the score doesn't come out your way, but your team doesn't quit.
Well, so it's first of all a testament to the young men and the families that they came from and their parents that raised them. Their mentors, high school coaches, professors, counselors. They're people of great character. Then you come to the school, and there's people in your company. There's professors. There's the military. You're getting it from three sides. So you got the professors that are classes are hard, and they're pushing them to the hilt academically. So you're grinding there. And then the military side, that stuff's hard. And you got to do this. You got to be in formation. You got to shave. And then you come on football, and we're doing the exact same thing to you. So you're getting it from these three sides, and it just builds a tough person. You're getting whacked on the head from all three sides. You kind of go over here and you get whacked, and you go over here and you get whacked. And the resiliency of these young men and young women that go to school here is the nature of the school. Mm-hmm. If the school is hard, but it's meant to be hard. It's not meant to be easy, and it lends itself, Graham, to a tough person that they just keep fighting, man.
Right.
can keep hitting them. I remember one game, these guys were talking smack to our players, and they were just saying these things. And our kids just looked at him and started laughing. I'm like, they get yelled at every day. You think that bothers him? They're like, yeah, whatever, dude. And just went back like, I was just kind of chuckling, you know what I mean? I mean, that's nothing to our guys. They get yelled at every day, so it's normal life for them.
That's funny. Well, thanks, Coach. It'll be great to see you guys back on the field.
Thanks, Graham.
Wags, go ahead and finish this up.
Kenny, you talked a little bit about Thanksgiving. What is the plan? Are you going to have a team-wide Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday, I guess?
Yeah, but we're gonna have to be spread out in Halsey. It won't be the most ideal, we won't eat in King Hall, but so we'll be on the football field, sitting on the ground, spread out, no tables, socially distanced. But it's the best we can do under the circumstances. It's better than nothing. We're not gonna eat at tables or anything like that. So with the size of our team, it's the only place that we could find. And again, we're not gonna be eating at tables, so we'll grab our food and guys will just spread out sit down on the turf field. So, but hey, we're eating. They can still be together, even though they might be yelling at somebody, 5 yards away from them. But it's 2020, man. We roll with the punches.
One, you with Barbara abandoning you, what are you going to do on Thanksgiving? I guess go over to Baja's house or something.
Well, his wife left too, so that's out. So it's he and I. So unfortunately, well, as you can see, just looking at me, I haven't been. I've been okay eating wise. So the one great thing about Annapolis is a lot of great places to eat. So I'm okay.
With regard to the quarterback competition, when would you like to settle? Because you have had almost a week of practice now, maybe a little less, to try to take a look at things. When would you like to settle on that so you can hone whoever you choose on the game plan?
Well, they're all getting a lot of reps, but probably Wednesday. Ivan's thought is, hey, 2 more days, and then let them get 2 days. We get the majority of the reps, and so that's the thought process right now. Because it's close, it's hard to make a call right now. So give them 2 more days, and a lot of it would be based on practice. A lot of it be based on gut feeling. We just kind of go from there because it's a pretty close deal. But we're probably Wednesday after our Monday and Tuesday practice.
Ivan mentioned Xavier. Is he in the picture, or is this mostly Tiger and Dalen?
He's in the mix. So all 3 of those guys are in the mix, and so that's why we looked a lot of it last week. I mean, really, since we stopped playing, we've been trying to use this as time to get Xavier caught up with some stuff. He wasn't here for spring practice. So trying to get him caught up with a lot of things. And so he's looking much better, looking much more comfortable with the offense. And so right now, it's amongst those 3 guys right now.
And on that note, with regard to developing young players, I think this has been a chance to look at some younger players. And also at the time when you thought you might not have other players, you might have needed younger players. Do you feel there's a chance that you've developed some younger players who might show up, if not in this game, but before the season's over?
Yeah, we've tried our best to do that, Wags, but unfortunately, part of and I'm not going to say a problem, it's part of what it is, of the contact tracing. Some of these guys that we wanted to practice, they were asymptomatic, but they were in quarantine. So, guys that are like, oh, sweet, this is a great time for so-and-so to get some work. Where's he at? Oh, he's in his room in isolation. Like, oh, okay, maybe not. And so we've just had to try to adjust with that. But guys that we could, Wags, we've tried to do that. We've tried to use this as a time to try to get some of the younger guys that have kind of been thrust into action, so to speak, to get them more caught up. And maybe there might have been some other guys we could develop a little bit more. We've used it if they're out there.
And last week, were you able to do anything to try to, because you're concerned about rust, you mentioned that. Were you able to do anything, maybe some more competitive game-like situations to try to, prevent there from being as much rust, or to maybe alleviate that issue?
Yes, we had some competitive stuff against each other. So we went good on good last week.
It's been a long time since you've had a Thanksgiving where you haven't had to get on an airplane and go to either SMU or South Alabama or Houston. What's it like? You know, I know that 2020 is different from every other year, but what's this been like for you personally? In that normally I know you're game planning every single week anyway, either for Army or for whoever that opponent is Thanksgiving week. But what's it been like for you personally to actually have this change of pace on schedule?
Obviously, it hasn't been good. It's been very frustrating. But you know, our whole outlook has been we're just adjusting. Tell our players the same thing, guys. We have no control over what's going on with the pandemic and canceling games, having games. So we just got to continue just to push forward. And for me personally, again, I just been trying to stay focused. Just trying to make sure, you know, reevaluate myself every single week. Things I can get better at. What can I can improve on as a coach, as a communicator, to help my guys not only deal with this, you know, from a football standpoint, also from a personal standpoint, you know. So trying to make sure I'm there for them. So it's been tough, but again, just been adjusting and dealing with it.
Just one quick follow-up before I sign it off. In terms of evaluating, you know, where the holes are in Memphis's defense that you can take advantage of, and I know that it's tough trying to game plan for them. That game gets canceled. Now you have to prepare for someone else, and now that game gets canceled. Now you're back on Memphis. Without revealing too much of your game plan or your intel, where do you think the spots are that you can possibly take advantage of, and you know, how do you think the offense can do against this particular defense?
Well, we just got to go out and play our style of football. And we always say, you know, it's a different brand of football. It's a very physical football game. I'm not taking nothing away from Memphis. They're very good defense. But for us, again, we want to go out and just every single player. You have to play our game. And sometimes, you know, it's some guys don't like it. But again, it's going to be a tough game. They're a very, very physical team. They played us pretty good last year. They have a great nose guard up front. So they'll have a good plan. The DC has seen our offense. As a matter of fact, he shut us out here at home in 2012, I believe. So they'll have a good plan. They know what they're doing. So it's gonna be a dogfight on Saturday. That's what we expect. Nothing less than that. We got to go out and get ready to play.
With the three quarterbacks battling right now, and looking at that, looking at the positive, that it's I would imagine taking their game up another notch, but also the players around them wanting to be the best they can to give them the opportunity to make their statement as quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's the toughest thing about it has all been we've had these weeks off, but we haven't had a chance to practice much. You know, so that's the toughest part. Normally in the bye week, you have a chance to get better. Now we practiced last week, which was a huge plus. But all these guys, again, they have something that they bring to the table. The biggest thing this year is just been the inconsistency in play. And again, like I've always said, I look at myself. When my guys aren't playing well and they're, you know, not getting us in the right play, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing in the meeting room or on our meetings? What am I not showing them? So I was looking at myself first and foremost with anything. But once you got there on the football field, they gotta do it. They gotta play smart. They gotta take care of the football and make great decisions. So we just been focusing on that these past few weeks. Just focus on getting better. You know, seeing the game better, making better decisions, getting us in the right play, and then we'll decide who the starter is. But right now, it's just each guy's focusing on himself and what he can do best to help us win football games.
And dealing with the inconsistency, what has it meant to you to have both Billy and Peter there to fall back on, to know that they're always going to be there for you on the right side of that line?
It's definitely a comfort blanket of having. You know, they're two good football players. And Peter, again, both they're very tough kids, but Peter is the epitome of tough. Again, I keep going back to last year, and I think it was the Air Force game where the big drive we have, his shoulder comes out. He's trying to get up. He can't get up because his shoulder popped out, and one guy reaches down, and I believe it was David Forney, helped him up, and he gets back on the line of scrimmage and holding his arm here and gets back down, and off the football he comes. So very, very tough kid. That's our mentality. They lead that. They live it. Fort Higgins last year was a great example of that. Up front, just being the bell cow, I guess. So I'm excited about those two guys. I'm very happy with them. You know, we have one game to go as far as our outlook on things. We're taking one game at a time. This is one game we're getting ready for. got to come out on Saturday and play very, very physical. And they got to play well for us up front. They got to get some movement because, again, they're very good up front. They're very stout. So it's going to be a tough game on Saturday. And, again, we got to come out ready to put our gloves on, come out swinging.
Thanks, Coach.
My pleasure.
Phil Bergman.
Hey, Coach. Phil Bergman with NavySports.com. Over the past few weeks, what leaders have really stepped up to ease the nerves of the team and just get everybody through these uncertain times?
Well, first and foremost, it's been our head coach. Coach Niumatalolo has been doing a great job. Just worried about again, not the football player, just the person. Because this is crazy, man. This is crazy. I'm just not being able to play and then being in your room, being cooped up. Obviously, these guys are young guys that want to get out and run around. So we were just trying to focus on their personal, their mental psyche, just as far as how they're feeling. And trying to, not really worry about football, just make sure that they're okay. But he's been doing a great job just kind of keeping these guys involved, making sure as coaches we're asking them more of what's going on outside of football. And player-wise, Chance has been great, as always. He stepped up and has been very, very vocal. Peter has stepped up. Billy has stepped up. So again, those three guys have pretty much been, trying to keep guys going, trying to stay positive. They come to work the same every single day with great energy. And hopefully, we can just build on that for the last part of the season.
You've known some of these guys since their freshman, sophomore, junior years of high school. Some of them didn't know if they'd ever get a chance to play again in Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. And now with these final two games, they have that opportunity. Just talking with them, what does this second chance at the end of the season mean to them?
It means the world to them. That's hallowed ground in that stadium. It's our house. Is where we've been very, very good at stadium over the years. I'm just hoping, I'm knocking on wood, that we get a chance to play. I want to see these guys be able to go out, their last two games at home, and be able to play a football game. And obviously, months from now, they'll be graduating from there. But football is why they're here. It's what they came here for. It's a big part of it, playing in that stadium, playing on that turf. So again, I'm just truly hoping that, that the stars align and we get a chance to play football so they can go out and finish their senior year the right way.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Graham Knight, and we do not know about fans right now.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Hey, Coach, you mentioned it's crazy inconsistencies in terms of, are we playing? Are we not playing? We're cooped up in our room. How are we preparing? How much practice are we getting? I'm really trying to wrap my head around just how crazy this season is. When you think back to last year, do you remember kind of what it was like? And is there any way to put that in context and compare it to just kind of how crazy it is exactly?
It was just normal last year. We played every single weekend. We were playing well. We were really good on offense and defense. We had a great season. Obviously, we had Malcolm at quarterback. So life was good. Life was good. Again, we were playing well. And we all know that's in this profession. This is pretty clear cut. It's all about wins and losses. And last year we just had a great year. When you're winning, everything is great, right? Everything is great, man. And same about the profession, when you're winning, everything is great. Doesn't matter what happens. If you win a football game, everything is better. Everything is great. Now this year we've been up and down. Then the pandemic comes in, up and down, games canceled. I can't say enough about 2020, man. It's just been a tough year, but like I said, if we can go out this weekend and find a way to win a football game, we'll all feel better about it. So, and we'll continue to push to the next game and then the next game. But it's all about winning football games to make everything better.
Yeah, no. So it sounds to me like part of it is the routine. It's that kind of routine. Have a game, prepare for the next game, and kind of roll in. It's that rhythm. I mean, there's been no rhythm at all this year.
Position meetings, there was a time there where we were meeting in the room together, being able to get on the board and draw things up, being able to sit with my guys, I get them Chick-fil-A once a week. We sit in there and we eat, and again, just go over the game plan. Again, it has been tough. Not being able to do any of that. Obviously we learn you take for granted, right? Take things for granted, not being able just to do simple things. Like practice, come in the meeting room, get on the board, draw things up, see guys face to face, see their reactions. When you ask them a question about a play or a scheme, I can see in their eyes, do they understand or not? So it's been chaotic, but again, there's no excuses we can make. We just gotta wait to fight through it. last year, Malcolm gave me a great quote. He said from his dad, it says, you play with the cards that you're dealt like the ones that you wanted. So, we just got to go.
All right. Well, good luck this weekend. We're looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Flags.
Hey, Ivan, you mentioned Mike Mcintyre, which is interesting that he is the DC at Memphis. Do you think or that the game plan that he used at San Jose State when he was the head coach would be something to base your preparations off of for this game?
You would think. They played pretty well. Played them 2 years. They had a really good plan. But at the same time, things change. He has different kind of players there, very athletic guys, very big guys, very, very, very physical. So, like we always do, we go into the game and we have our base schemes, that we can run against any front. We always try to worry about what we're doing. And we're at a point, again, I know we have a lot of games canceled, but we've played enough to where our guys should be able to go out there and line up. Whatever we see, we should be able to block it. So we're just going to prepare, for what we think we'll see. And just have a strong game plan, have a clear game plan first and foremost, so our guys know what to do. And just go out there and play fast and take care of the football, play fast, and put some points on the board.
So Coach Niumatalolo said that you'd like to have a starter at quarterback Wednesday so that they have 2 practices, Wednesday and Thursday, to hone in on the game plan. Can you kind of tell us what's happened since last week with that competition?
They're both battling out, but again, it's just been inconsistent. On Saturday, on Friday's practice, both guys go out and they do some good things. They turn the football over. Both guys fumble the football. So it's been real nerve-wracking. But at the same time, like I tell you guys, I'm always wondering, what am I doing wrong? What am I not? Am I coaching anything different? Try to look at myself and what I'm doing first. Taking care of the football is taking care of the football. That's something that we do every single day in practice. We coach it every day. We stretch it every day, every drill, keep the ball high and tight. But again, now from a decision standpoint, they're doing good things. As far as executing plays, getting the ball where it needs to be at. So again, the next 2 days here, we'll continue to evaluate them. And again, as far as a guy that we feel that's going to get out there on Saturday, because again, they can do a lot of moving around on defense. And where we feel that a guy can get in the right play, that's what we'll go with.
Well, Coach just also mentioned that in his previous presser that Xavier is in the mix, but you sound like you're more focused on Dalen and Tiger.
And again, those are top 2 guys right now. And Xavier, he's in that second huddle. He's getting all the reps. He's getting all the reps, which means he's getting better and better every single week. And there's a possibility that he'll be out there playing these next 3 games. So we want to get this kid's reps. He's a good football player. But again, there's also other guys behind him too, young guys that haven't had a chance to come to the field because of just where we are. But right now, he's the 3rd guy that's getting the reps, is having a chance to get better. And there's possibly that he'll be able to get out there on Saturday for these next 3 games.
And whoever it is that does start on Saturday will have gone a long time without playing. Let's say it's Dalen or Tiger. They will not have played since SMU, which is October 31st. It's going to be nearly a month, believe it or not. And then if it was Xavier, I don't think he's played in the game since Tulane. What do you do to keep those guys sharp, mentally sharp? Do you try to put pressure on them in practice to replicate game situations so that when Saturday night comes, they're ready?
The biggest thing, that we always do, obviously, is make sure that they're mentally ready. So in meetings on the football field, it's a good thing to have 15 minutes. Sometimes we'll get 30 or 40 plays in. So they get a lot of reps every single day. So the mental part and the physical part of getting out there and running around is definitely important. So meetings on the field, we put the pressure on them to get better, to see things. There's downtime during practice where I'll take it myself and we'll sit there and we'll talk to them, we'll go through some visual scenery of seeing the game, seeing looks, what you would check. So again, everything that I've done to get them ready to play, I've been doing. But the biggest thing too is just being pad ready. Again, we don't hit our quarterbacks in practice, so we have our old school blaster. That's one thing I'm always focused on, is make sure that those guys are pad ready. So we get them in that blaster. Again, they don't like it, they hate it. You can go far as back as guys from since I've been here, they hate that blaster, but it's the best way to get those guys pad ready. So mentally and physically, and also being pad ready, it all goes into making sure that the one guy's ready to go. So we'll continue to do that. And on Saturday, he'll come out there and the plans for him to play well.
And last for me, I hope I'm not getting confused here, but I seem to recall, because we had so many games that we started and then didn't play, but I seem to recall that Memphis has a couple big boys up front in the middle of the D line. I think one particular player has stood out. Are you seeing a solid D line?
I'm seeing a solid everything. they're just athletic. They're athletic. They're fast. You know, and now they have a coach who's seen this offense, right? He's seen it. He's defended it well. You know, so there won't be much option factor. No one will be losing the football. You know, so when you have guys who are great athletically, they can run and they're physical and know what they're doing, it's going to be tough Saturday on Saturday, and we got to come out and line it up, and we got to play.
You know, I guess what I want to talk about is I'm trying to wrap my head around really what it's like. I'm trying to, you know, from my side of it, it's hard to get a feel for, you know, how different is it? And the only thing I can figure out a new way to put it into context is when you think back to last year and where you were at this point, can you give me an idea of what it was like then and then contrast it to kind of what you're going through now?
Well,
I mean, just go ahead.
yeah, no, that's a good question. It's obviously just a very different year than any other year. You know, last year at this point, there was a lot of excitement about where we were at. It was kind of a whirlwind. My first year being here, felt like we were playing pretty good at defense at this point in the year last year and doing some really good things. And so I guess the contrast for me is not feeling really good about where we're at or how we've played. I think we've made some strides and thought we took a step back against SMU. So I don't know, it's peculiar, you know, especially being off 3 weeks now. You know, our last game was SMU. We went out, didn't play well. And so we've been sitting on that for 3 weeks, and that's not a good feeling. And then you go and you prepare for 3 different games and you spend a lot of time doing so. And it's obviously a letdown for our players. And it's a letdown for our staff too. You know, we want to go out and play those games, and we put a lot of time and energy, and as our players do, into that. And then it's to get it pulled out from under you. It's frustrating. It really is. But it's been good for us too, because we've gotten some work in. With that being said, we've had to get work in without a lot of our key players because of the tracing and the COVID issues that we've had. So it's just it's a strange year, for lack of any other better way to put it, I guess. But you know, I think we've got still got some good football in front of us. We got a lot to play for here in the next few weeks. I'm excited about these games coming up. And I think we're going to play better. I think our best football is ahead of us still. I really do. I believe that. And I've been really, really proud of the way our players have approached and dealt with the situation. We've got great kids here. They're super resilient and trying to make the best of the situation and control things that we can control. And
It seems to me there's also a silver lining here. This 3 weeks off has given Navy a chance to heal up. I mean, do you feel like you're going into this game, you know, had you rolled through game after game after game, those players might not have gotten a chance to heal. Where are you in terms of bringing players back who might not have made it had the games not have been interrupted?
yeah, I think there's pros and cons of that. If you look at the reasons why we didn't play, and not having those guys available to practice during those weeks that we didn't get to play. So some of the young guys that we wanted to continue to bring along and get work didn't get to get the work that you'd like them to get. And at the same time, like you mentioned, it's a chance for you to heal up, and we are banged up. So that was good for our guys that might not have been able to play in those games, or had they been able to play, would have been banged up. So you kind of get your legs back and all those kind of things. There's good and there's bad to it. But you know, I think you know, I think we got most of our guys back at this point, and there's still a couple of game time decisions that are probably made. But you know, you never know with this COVID what's going to happen. You know, we test 3 days a week, and you can feel pretty good going into Friday, and your whole world can be flipped upside down. And so we've got to get a lot of different guys ready to play, and got to think outside the box as coaches. If you have those issues like we've had, and like we'll probably continue to have, then you've got to be able to be flexible in your game plan and make sure that what you're asking your players to do, especially younger players or guys that haven't played a lot of snaps, can actually go out and do that and execute that. And so that that's a challenge because there's certain things you want to be able to do and you feel like you need to be able to do, but you may not be able to do. And so you got to figure out the best way to move forward and put a game plan together with all these things in mind. So I tell you, I'm learning something different every week. And but I love our team. I love our players and the way they've approached this thing. And it's kind of the next man up mentality. And I'm just excited to go play a game. And hope we get to play it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. One more quick thing and I'll shut up. One of the things I was talking to Coach Niumatalolo as well is, Navy's unique in the sense that you're preparing America's future commanders and leaders. And it seems to me what you really need to do in order to prepare them is give them a great deal of adversity because they can't fold in that adversity. And I know that preparing for games and not being able to play them takes a certain amount of wind out of your sails. Where's your team in terms of being motivated? Is it hard to keep them motivated, or given the fact that they really can't fold under pressure, do you feel like you've got the kind of commitment it's going to take to just kind of keep going at it no matter what COVID throws at you?
I do. Like I mentioned earlier, we've got great kids. They're super resilient. They've already been through a lot of adversity before this season hit. Just being here at the academy, you face adversity every day just about. And so they're really mature. They've approached it the right way. They've been motivation for me. But I tell you what, with all the restrictions and not having to leave and some of those type things, I mean, football is their safe haven, so to speak. And so I think they enjoy getting to go out and go to practice and certainly enjoy getting ready to and playing in games. And so, no, I don't think it's been a challenge to keep them motivated. I think it's been a challenge to keep their spirits up a little bit. But they're motivated certainly, and I'm super proud of the way that these guys have continued to go to work every day.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Wyckoff.
Hey, Coach, Scott Wyckoff at WBAL Radio in Baltimore.
Yeah.
What makes Brady White such a good quarterback? I mean, he just every team he goes up against, he puts up good numbers, and he's had such a quality career at two different schools. What makes him so good?
Yeah, I think a lot of things. I think he's, this is another year in the system for him there at Memphis, and he runs that thing really, really well, sees the field really well. He's a guy that can make all the throws, big pocket quarterback. Not necessarily a runner, but is effective when he does it. They don't ask him to do that a lot, but he certainly can do that. He can get himself out of trouble when he needs to. He's got some weapons to spread the ball around too. Really, really impressed just watching him on film. But no, he's a really good football player. Seems like we play good ones every week, and just there's no let up in the quarterback play in this conference. So it's going to be a real challenge.
And what's impressed you about Calvin Austin, one of his real great weapons this year?
Yeah, just super dynamic. Great route runner, really hard to cover, fast, quick, has great hands. He's the whole package out there. And he's definitely a point of emphasis for us and a big concern.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Bill Bergman.
Hey, Coach, just following up on those last two questions, how are you guys preparing for the nation's 10th best total offense right now in the country?
Good question. I don't know if you got any advice or tips for me. That'd be good. Well, we started preparing for them, the week the game got canceled. So we had a scouting report put together and we got a practice or two in. And so we got a little bit of a head start in that regard. And then so we got back on it into last week and this week. Get a little bit of a jump start today. It's not your typical Monday since we didn't play this weekend. So kind of feel like you get a little bit of extra day of preparation. But no, we're going about it just like we always do every week. Trying to figure out a way to slow them down a little bit, keep everything in front of us, try to create some negative plays and do the things that we always try to do on defense.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wags, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know how upset you were Saturday night with the Sooners getting after your Cowboys, right?
No, I'm a big Sooners fan.
You like the Sooners. All right.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure which one you rooted for, Oklahoma or Oklahoma State.
Yeah. No, I grew up a big Sooners fan.
Okay. All right. Well, it's sad to see Bedlam reduced to such a blowout loss.
Yeah, I agree.
What I guess first and foremost, going back to Memphis a little bit, are they the same offensively? I know the head coach was the O coordinator before, so are they the same they were under Norvell, or do you feel a little bit different?
Very similar. There's some new wrinkles. very similar. They lost some really really good weapons from last year to graduation, and they had tailback opt out, but they've replaced them with some really really good players. So I think they're very similar to what they were last year.
He was mentioning, in addition to the wide receiver Austin, he mentioned the tight end has emerged as a guy that he's all very good on third down. They go to him a lot on third down. He talked today on his presser about using that guy more because they feel he's a pretty good weapon. He's a guy, he says he loves when teams line a linebacker up against him because they feel like he's almost like a wide receiver. Can you talk about that guy a little bit?
Yeah, I think he's exactly right. I mean, he's a wide receiver playing tight end. He's not your 6'5", 250-pound tight end. He's just a little bit of a smaller tight end that's really athletic and can run. And they'll flex him out, and he looks like a wideout out there. Sometimes you break their film down, their numbers are hard to see, so you can't tell if he's a wideout or a tight end. And that's a tribute to his athletic ability. But I think they've used him quite a bit. He's their second leading receiver. You typically don't see that with tight ends, but he's a good player and just another guy they have that's it's an issue to deal with. We've got to make sure that we're ready for.
What's made them very difficult to defend, at least during Norvell's time, was that they always had that running threat. I mean, Tony Pollard's in the NFL with the Cowboys. Antonio Gibson's in the NFL now with the Redskins. They've had some pretty good running backs, but with Kenneth Gainwell opting out, it doesn't look statistically like they're as balanced. Do you feel like they still are a threat to run on you, or no?
Yeah, most definitely. They're 50-50 on 1st and 10, so they're really really balanced. That's something they've done really well. And like a lot of teams, they're running the RPO stuff, so they're going to take what you give them. If you're going to load the box, they're going to throw it out in the perimeter and treat that as a run play on the short passes. And then if you're playing coverage, and they're going to run it. So they take what you give them, and they do both very effectively. And the running backs are good players.
So we talked to Coach Niumatalolo. One thing you've been able to do is maybe look at some younger players, but then he mentioned that some of the younger players you wanted to look at weren't available in certain instances. But is there a chance that we could see some new faces on defense over these final 3 games of the season, just based off of this long layoff and having a chance to maybe do what you didn't do in spring ball and evaluate some younger guys with some talent that you like?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance with the way that things are going. Never knowing who you're going to have available to play. But as far as who's going to play this week for us, really won't see probably too many new faces. At least I don't plan on there being. We're certainly getting some guys ready that would be new faces if it came down to that. But no, it shouldn't be a whole lot of change this week.